I've played second clarinet to several amazing players, but my first job was playing second to Ricardo Morales, who I also studied with. So I knew how he played and how he phrased. It was almost too easy to play second to him until he would start badgering me, to play louder. And the Met is a very lush, big sounding orchestra, and I was 24 years old and completely overwhelmed by the sound of the orchestra and projecting. And so we were playing a run of De Rosenkavalier, and Ricardo kept wanting me to play louder and just being like, just play louder here, just play louder. And I got really mad one night, and right at the beginning of De Rosenkavalier, and I was so mad at him because I thought he was being really rude, but I finally was like, I'm going to stick up for myself, and I refused to talk to him for the rest of the 4-hour opera. And which at the pit we can get away with doing a lot of things. We talk and we're drinking, and because we're not on stage, no one's really looking at us. So at the end of this 4-hour opera, which has a ton of clarinet in it and all kinds of little duets and things like that, he leaned over to me and went, that was much better. Geez, why didn't you do that from the beginning? So then we were friends from then on, but that's a typical night with Ricardo. So since Ricardo has left and he's gone to the Philadelphia Orchestra, and we wish him all the best on stage under the bright lights, we have 2 new principals, Steve Williamson and Anthony McGill. And so on any given night, I'll play with one or the other, and I have to be able to adjust to them and how they each play. And so I think that my job is very unusual in that way, that I play with 2 completely different stylistically clarinet people, however you want to say that. They each have their own way of playing. They have their own pitch ideas. They have their own phrasing ideas. They both play on different clarinets than I do. And so I think my job is to be the rock, really. I like to have a very focused sound sometimes. Sometimes I like to open up my sound. If I'm playing harmony, thirds, I really have to listen closely to matching them in terms of the timbre. And in the opera is very dramatic, and we have to listen to what's going on stage. So often the principal is listening to that, they're looking at the conductor, and I need to follow the principal and make everything a cohesive unit. So that's what I consider my job to be. And then a lot of times somebody calls in sick, so then I end up moving over. And we just finished playing a run of Nixon in China, and that was principal and E-flat clarinet. So I played principal on the run of Nixon in China. And it's very different moving over to principal, because then all of a sudden you're making the decisions, and you're in charge of the phrasing ideas. So it always takes a little bit of an adjustment, because I pride myself as a second player being able to follow the principal player anywhere, and pitch-wise, phrasing-wise. But then when I'm in charge, you have to get a little bit more cocky, and you have to, be a little bit more in the driver's seat. So all those things come into play on any given night. My biggest suggestion for somebody who's gonna be a second player is to truly call up the principal player and go play duets with them. I think knowing how they play is so important, and you'll get there faster if you have some pizza and some beers and you're playing duets. But if you're about to take a second audition, play duets with other people, play those audition excerpts with somebody playing the first part, so that you can get a sense of how your line fits in with everybody else's line, how the pitch fits in, thirds, fifths. The harmony is usually in the second part, and that's so important. Playing octaves. Basically, get to know the person that you're playing with. I think that a successful first and second partnership is best if you get along with the person and you have a good time and the music comes naturally.